Under the bright arena lights of Tokyo, two worlds collided long before a punch was thrown. On one side stood Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, the pride of Nicaragua, a man whose soft-spoken nature hid a storm of violence in his fists. His rise through three-weight divisions had made him a legend, but this night carried a different weight, a chance to conquer yet another division and secure his legacy as one of the greatest lighter-weight fighters in history. Across from him stood the champion, Akira Yaegashi, the warrior spirit of Japan, wrapped in white trunks and unshakable pride. Yaegashi entered the ring with the heart of a man defending not just a title, but an entire nation's hopes. His style was pure pressure, pure fire, the kind that dared his opponents to match his tempo or drown beneath it. As the opening bell echoed across the arena, both men stepped forward without hesitation. Gonzalez began to read the rhythm, inch by inch, studying Yaegashi's rhythm and reactions, while the Japanese champion threw combinations meant to test the Nicaraguan's resolve. But Chocolatito was unmoved, absorbing data with the cold precision of a surgeon. Each jab, each step, each twitch of Yaegashi's gloves was catalogued. The crowd sensed the tension rising, a slow tightening of the string before the arrow flies. This wasn't just a fight, it was two nations pushing forward through their champions. And as their shadows danced on the canvas beneath them, one truth became clear. This night would not end quietly. Someone would have to break. The early rounds unfolded like a storm trying to find direction. Yaegashi's feet were in constant motion, darting in and out, throwing flurries of punches, fueled by adrenaline and pride. His volume was relentless. He wasn't just fighting Gonzalez. He was trying to suffocate him under an avalanche of activity. But Chocolatito, calm as a monk in meditation, never rushed. He walked forward with unshakable patience, gloves high, chin tucked, eyes locked onto Yaegashi's center line. Every time the champion unleashed a barrage, Gonzalez blocked, rolled, or absorbed just enough to understand the patterns forming in front of him. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, Roman began tightening the distance. Yaegashi felt it, the ring growing smaller, the air thicker. The challenger's pressure was different from anything he had faced. It wasn't wild or desperate. It was disciplined, calculated, a slow build toward something frightening. Midway through the rounds, Chocolatito began planting his feet more firmly. He started throwing short hooks and compact uppercuts that buzzed the champion's chin. Yaegashi answered bravely, roaring back with flurries meant to reclaim control. But Gonzalez's punches were heavier, more deliberate. Every exchange was a gamble, and little by little, the champion began losing chips. The Japanese crowd could hear the thud of Roman's body shots echoing like muted drums, each one a warning, each one a reminder that this fight carried a cost. And although Yaegashi fought with the fiery heart of a warrior, a thin shadow of fatigue began creeping into his movements. Gonzalez had not yet taken over, but the balance had begun to tilt. By the midpoint of the fight, the tone had transformed from competitive chess match to survival test. Yaegashi, still fueled by courage and instinct, refused to take a step back. His face bore the marks of every exchange, swelling around the eyes, reddened cheeks, and a jaw tightened by strain. But his heart, untouched. He kept answering every Chocolatito combination with stubborn defiance, firing back hooks and overhands meant to reclaim momentum. Yet Roman, now fully downloaded into the rhythm of the fight, began unleashing combinations with chilling precision. The Nicaraguan legend's trademark style, endless pressure, endless composure, was at its zenith. He stalked Yaegashi with silent confidence, slipping shots by millimeters and countering with crisp punches that snapped the champion's head back. Every body shot he landed pushed Yaegashi closer to the edge. The Japanese warrior's legs grew less springy, his movement less fluid, but his spirit remained unbroken. Still, the physical damage told its own story. His corner, faces tight with concern, urged him to keep circling, keep punching, keep showing the heart that had made him a fan favorite. And Yaegashi did. Each time he appeared ready to fade, he surged with a final burst, firing rapid combinations that momentarily stole cheers from the crowd. But Gonzalez didn't just absorb these moments, he extinguished them. With every step forward and every heavy exchange, he was imposing a truth Yaegashi could no longer deny. Raymond's power, timing, and relentlessness were becoming too much. The battle was far from over, but the Japanese champion now stood at the brink, 1 foot on the edge of a cliff he could no longer ignore. The championship rounds approached with a sense of collapsing inevitability. Yaegashi's courage was legendary, but the damage had turned his vision into a narrow blur of lights and motion. His guard dropped in tiny, uncontrollable moments, fractions of a second that Chocolatito punished with brutal accuracy. Roman now pressed forward with the cold efficiency of a fighter who knew victory was within reach. He doubled and tripled his hooks, targeting the head and body with seamless transitions. Each punch had purpose, shaping the final chapter of the champion's resistance. The Japanese fans were on their feet, begging their hero to hold, to fire back, to withstand the storm a little longer. And he did, even as his legs betrayed him. Every time Chocolatito landed a clean right hand, Yaegashi's knees bent and the entire arena inhaled sharply. But somehow he kept rising, kept swinging, kept proving why he was beloved worldwide. Yet heart has limits, and Gonzalez was now operating in a dimension Yaegashi could no longer reach. The challenger's accuracy sharpened, the combinations flowing with machine-like rhythm. A thundering left hook sent Yaegashi stumbling, and Roman followed with a barrage that cracked through the guard like breaking glass. Still, the champion refused to fall. His spirit kept him upright long after his body had begun to fail. But Roman smelled the end. He poured on the pressure, every punch chipping away at the final strands of the champion's resolve. The shield was cracking, the warrior was fading, and the challenger, with history in his grasp, prepared to strike the final blow. The final moments were a mixture of tragedy and triumph. Yaegashi, battered but unbroken in spirit, stood in the center of the ring with the stubborn pride of a samurai refusing to bow. His face swollen, his movements sluggish, he still lifted his gloves and fired back at Gonzalez as if one punch could turn the tide. But Roman, fully in command, unleashed the final, decisive storm. A perfectly timed right hand detonated against Yaegashi's jaw, sending him collapsing into the ropes and then down to the canvas. The referee moved in with urgency, counting, assessing, searching for signs that the champion could continue. Yaegashi tried to rise, tried to show the pride that had carried him through the brutal rounds, but his legs deserted him. The referee waved it off. The arena erupted. Some cheered, some cried. All understood what they had witnessed. Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, the humble warrior from Managua, had not just won another title. He had carved another chapter into boxing history. His relentless pressure, his mechanical precision, his unbreakable composure had overwhelmed a champion who fought with every ounce of his soul. Yaegashi, even in defeat, left the ring a hero. No one questioned his heart, his bravery, or his legacy, but this night belonged to Gonzalez. As he lifted the green WBC belt, sweat soaking his face, the crowd roared in appreciation of a fighter who blended brutality with beauty, violence with grace. In that moment, Chocolatito wasn't just a champion. He was a symbol of discipline, humility, and the unshakable spirit of a man born to fight. And the world knew this performance, this night, this story would live forever.